Hey friends, today we've come to one of the most exciting parts of James Gunn and Peter Safran's new universe, the movie Batman, the Brave and the Bold. This film is going to introduce the main Batman of the DC universe, but not the Batman we know, a Batman who has a killer son. What is the latest news up to today? Who is going to be Batman? And what's the status of the script anyway? Let's go so we don't miss any news. But before we jump into the video, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe, like the video, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on new videos. Let's go. First of all, we're going to talk about the status of Batman in James Gunn's universe. The first and most important thing you need to know is, this Batman is completely separate from Robert Pattinson's Batman. This film is going to bring Batman and the Bat family into the main DCU timeline. But the main story? That revolves around the relationship between Bruce Wayne and his actual biological son, Damian Wayne. Well, we all know that when Gunn introduced the future projects of the DCU, the Batman project was for a movie called The Brave and the Bold, and we were supposed to see the full presence of the Bat family members like Nightwing and Batgirl and the rest of this group in this film. The story also revolved around Batman's relationship with his son, Damian Wayne, and how Batman, along with the Bat family members, could control Damian, who was raised by his mother Talia and the League of Assassins, and they were supposed to show us this father-son relationship. He and Safran are directly involved in all stages of writing. Gunn has said that until the script is completely good, they won't greenlight production, because these characters deserve the best. A key point that Gunn recently mentioned is that things have changed in the story, and he cryptically replied that fans should wait to see how Damian Wayne enters the story. This could indicate that parts of the comic's background might change. Damian Wayne was trained by Talia al Ghul and the League of Assassins. From childhood, he was trained not for justice, but to kill. He's a very skilled and professional assassin at a young age. The central challenge of the film is how Bruce Wayne, who has a strong belief in the no-kill rule, wants to turn this trained killer into a hero. This is an internal moral battle for Batman, who is forced to take responsibility for a violent being raised by his most bloodthirsty enemies. This means the relationship between Batman and Robin is full of tension, misunderstanding, and physical and moral conflict. However, in a new interview that Gunn gave about this film, he announced that the script is currently being written and the script stages of this film are progressing well, but he emphasized that changes have been made to the script, and we might not see a Batman who is 40 to 42 years old, and regarding Damian Wayne's presence in this film, he also said that it's still unclear. This statement shows that the film script has undergone very big changes, and we might no longer see the father-son relationship between Damian and Bruce, and we might even see a Batman who is almost the same age as Superman in this film. And maybe even the Robin of this film is Dick Grayson, and we might not have the Bat family in that large form as Gunn initially stated. Of course, we might have Tim Drake as Robin in this film, and see the presence of Nightwing and Batgirl. I personally would like to see either Damian Wayne or Dick Grayson if we are going to see Robin, and I would also like to see Barbara Gordon in the DCU in the role of Batgirl and not as Oracle. And now let's go to one of the coolest members of the Bat family, Jason Todd, or Red Hood, who is one of my favorite characters in the DC universe. I think we will most likely not see Jason in this film, or he will be mentioned in one or two scenes at most. Jason Todd's potential is very high, and I hope Gunn can use this character well in his universe. I don't think the rest of the Bat family members like Spoiler or Orphan and the others will be in this film, and we will gradually see the rest of the Bat family gather in the future. Of course, the probability of Spoiler's presence in this film is higher than the other members. Well, now that we've talked about the Bat family members, it's time to talk about the main villain that this film could have. Who do you think this villain could be?
Batman's world has a lot of villains who could be in this film. I personally don't want to see Joker as the main villain in this film because Joker has been in the cinema a lot over these years, and I think the Batman universe has so many diverse villains that this film can focus on one of them. I think Bane, the Riddler, Clayface, the Court of Owls, and the League of Assassins could be the main villains in this film. If we are going to have Damian Wayne in this film, the best choice for a villain could be the Court of Owls or the League of Assassins because these two groups can show us the father-son relationship between Bruce and Damian very well. Now that we've talked about the characters, it's time to go to the story of this film, which we can say is the most essential part of this film. How do you think the story should be to make this film a successful one? I think if we are going to see the story of Bruce and Damian Wayne, the story of this film should focus on Damian's violent side and his upbringing with Ra's al Ghul, the impact that had on Damian, and his conflict with Batman's important rule, the no-kill rule, and the relationship and problems that Batman and Damian have with each other. Damian as a rebellious son, and Batman as the one who has to accept Damian and bring him along. The presence of Ra's al Ghul and Talia can be very interesting and influential in this, especially if Ra's al Ghul is used as the main villain and puts Damian in a dilemma between his father's or his grandfather's path. The story of this film can be adapted from many comics, but I consider these three to be the best comics for adaptation. Batman and Son, 2006, written by Grant Morrison. This is the first time Damian Wayne enters the main DC universe. The comic perfectly shows the tense yet emotional relationship between Bruce and his son. The themes of fatherhood, Batman's legacy, and the conflict between Damian's ninja training and Bruce's ethics are the focus of the story. It is essentially the foundation of all subsequent narratives between these two characters. Batman Incorporated 2010-2013, written by Grant Morrison as well. In this series, Bruce decides, after returning from death, to turn Batman into a global symbol. Damian plays an important role as Robin, and his growth from a small assassin to a true hero is well shown. The emotional conflicts between father and son alongside attractive international action have high potential for cinematic adaptation. Robin, Son of Batman 2015-2016, written by Patrick Gleason. Here, Damian is on a path to redemption and tries to atone for his past sins. The story focuses on his character growth and independence. This storyline can provide a strong emotional foundation for the film, as it shows that Damian is not just Batman's son, but a hero in his own right. But the last question is, which actors are going to play the roles in this film? I have a full video about the role of Batman on my channel that you can see above if you like. You can see the potential actors for DCU Batman in that video. But about the rest of the roles in this film, well, we don't know anything specific yet because even the script isn't finished. But according to Gunn's statements, for the role of Batman, discussions have been held with a few actors. Now we have to see who will be chosen for the roles in this film later on. The definite news is that Andy Muschietti, the director of The Flash and the It films, is officially directing this project. Of course, some rumors said he had left the project, but he announced in an interview recently that he is still the director of this film.
Now let's go to Batman himself. I personally would like to see Batman deal with fantasy worlds and villains in this universe, exactly like Batman the Animated Series. I think this animation can really help Gunn deliver an excellent comic book Batman. Gunn needs to make the Batman character as deep as in the comics, and we see a Batman who, on one hand, struggles with Gotham's problems, and on the other hand, is also dealing with his own family and their problems. Definitely the Batman of the DCU will focus more on his relationships with the Bat family, and we'll see Batman as a father rather than a lone Batman like what we've seen of Batman in the cinema in recent years. Of course, this is the first time we are seeing the Bat family in the cinema, and we have to see if this film can display those Bat family connections or not. I hope Gunn can deliver an amazing universe from DC, and we can see a very good Batman in this universe. Regarding the release date of this film, we still have a long way to go until its release. This film will probably be ready for release in 2028, because we have a Batman film in 2027, and 2 Batman films will certainly not be released in the same year. Ultimately, the film The Brave and the Bold is James Gunn's biggest test. He's going for one of Batman's most popular Robins, Damian Wayne, and one of his most complex narratives. The goal is to create a new Batman who can be both dark and centered in a strange family at the same time. We should expect a story full of action and psychological conflict between a father and a small killer. Well, friends, now that you've heard the latest news up to today, who do you think is the ideal actor for the new Bruce Wayne? And how can this mischievous Damian Wayne be controlled? Be sure to let me know in the comments. If you like this kind of hot news video and in-depth analysis, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any new news from the DCU world. Until the next video, goodbye.